So a couple of days ago, I asked you guys on Instagram if you wanted to see a breakdown of the lighting that I used for this photo shoot, and it was an overwhelming yes. That means that you guys really want to see how I did the lighting for this. So in today's video, that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be breaking down how I did the lighting and how you guys can use this lighting for your future photos. So before we start this video, make sure to go ahead and like and subscribe. It always does help the channel out when you guys do that, and I really appreciate it. I've been getting a lot of new subscribers lately, so if you're new here, welcome. And if you're not already subscribed, consider subscribing so that you guys don't miss out on any future videos. All right, so with that being said, let's not waste any time. Let's get right into this. I've made some graphics to show you guys the placement of each light source relative to other light sources during this photo shoot, so you guys can get a better understanding of where things were relative to other things. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the screen that I'm looking at on the actual video. This is how I had the model set up. I had the model set up on a white backdrop, right center in the middle. I had her a little bit farther away from the back of the backdrop because I wanted it to be spaced out a little bit. I don't recommend shooting right next to a backdrop because it'll flatten the image a lot and it won't give it that depth. And obviously I try to create as much depth in my photos as possible. So you always want to take a couple of steps back, maybe a couple feet back from the actual backdrop that you're shooting against to create some of that depth in the photo. With backdrops, they're very plain. They're usually just a single color. So you're already flattening the image a lot by not adding an environment. So you don't want to further that by removing the depth of field, by having the model be too close to the background. That was the starting point for the photo shoot. The first thing I'm going to show you guys is where my camera placement was for this shoot. Now I was doing handheld, and I don't usually do tripods because I feel like they limit how I can take photos. So I always try and do as much handheld as possible. But for this shoot, I want it to be dead center in the middle to try and get as much of the backdrop in frame as possible. If you don't get the right angle, you'll start seeing some of the room in the back and not just the backdrop. I wanted to have as much of the backdrop in frame as possible, so I rolled it out extra long, and then I made sure to center it as much as possible so I could have both sides just filled with empty whiteness. That's how I set up my camera. I was shooting at about slightly below eye level. I don't like to shoot at eye level. I always like to shoot with a slight incline shooting upwards. The blue is representing how much was in view of the camera. I made sure to crop in just a tiny bit so that some of the white backdrop wasn't actually in frame. If I could have it all be white right from the camera, it would save me an extra step in post. That was where the camera was set up. Now the first light that I had was the projector. So the projector was off to the right slightly and angled a little bit so that it was able to get around the model without the beam actually making contact with her. Now this is really important because I wanted the white circle to be centered and I wanted it to be without any shadows. So if anything were to go in front of the light source, it would create a shadow. So in order for me to get that white circle in the back without any shadows, I had to set my projector off to the right a little bit and then keystoned it so that it would still be a perfect circle in the back. If you guys are wondering what projector I use like an Epson PowerLight 85 Plus. Pretty good projector. I got it for free, so like I can't really vouch for what projector you guys should get, but I mean any projector, as long as it's got a decent amount of lumens, I'd say 2500 or more lumens is gonna be a good projector, and I highly recommend getting a projector because it allows you to shape light exactly how you want it. I just hooked up my projector to my laptop, and then from there I was able to adjust the size of the circle and a little bit of the position as well. So the projector was definitely what tied this photo all together. I got the most questions on how I got that white circle. So yeah, I got that white circle through using a projector. The second light I put in was the red fill light that you guys can see in the photo. The one thing I messed up on with this red fill light is I underestimated how powerful it was. This is a really strong light. So this light is, like, it can light up an entire room just by itself. It's really bright red, so I had to position it a little bit farther back, even farther back than my camera. It was off to the left a little bit, and height-wise from the ground, it was like right at eye level, just because I wanted to fill in the face with red. But what I didn't take into consideration was the shadow it was going to cast. So if you guys see in the photo, there's like a slight shadow off to the right of the photo, and that's actually a shadow casted by the model from the red light, which I didn't take into consideration. It's an easy fix in post. I just the more I look at it, the more I get bugged out. You need to keep in mind how strong your lighting situations are. So if you see in the diagram, it kind of fades out. That's because I wanted it to be strong enough to light up the darkness and the shadows in the model's face, but not strong enough to actually cast shadow, and I underestimated the strength of it, and that's how I ended up with that shadow in the right corner that I don't really love. When I had these two lights going, the photo was already looking pretty good, but it was a little too dark, and I really wanted the white emphasis of the backdrop in this photo, so I added one more light to this situation, and that was the door. So in my studio, I have my backdrop and there's a door right off to the left. So I opened up the door and I let natural light in, and that's what you guys see lighting up the whiteness of the backdrop. So it lit up the scene just enough for the red to still be powerful enough to see it, but enough for the environment to be present as well. And once I had all these lights going, the image looked pretty much complete, so I just gassed it up a little bit with some smoke from my fog machine, and that's when I started taking the photos. So this is what the final lighting situation looks like. As you guys can see, it was only 3 different lights, and I try to keep it as simple as possible because I feel like a lot of people underestimate what they can do with what they have available at home. You can get this photo and you can get this lighting situation for like 20 bucks if you're smart with it. Obviously the projector is going to be the most expensive thing just because I got mine for free, but if you were to go out and buy one from a store, it would be a couple $100. But you don't need a projector to get that white circle in the back. You can use that, you can get that circle in the back with a light and a lens. But yeah, this is the lighting situation. This is how it looks from a top-down view if you guys want to copy it. I always recommend trying different things out. So when I was shooting this wasn't my original, like, I didn't start the shoot with this in mind. It just kind of happened, and now I wish I could go back and take more shots with this lighting. So always try and keep in mind what your lighting situation is going to be before you go into the shoot, because if you have an idea of a lighting situation that looks really good, you'll be more likely to get better shots, because while it's happening, while it's in the moment, you'll know going into it what the light's going to look like before you even get there, and it'll allow you to be more creative. Whereas when you just throw it all together on the spot, you know, you'll probably be like, I don't know if this is good or not, so I don't want to waste too much time doing it. So yeah, that's how I did the lighting for these photos. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys learned something new, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe as always. If you guys aren't following me on Instagram, go ahead and follow me. Link will be in the description below. And if you guys liked these photos, go ahead and check out my website where you guys can pick up a print of it. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you guys in the next one.